What if I told you that every emotion you feel, every laugh, tear, spark of anger, or whisper of love had a price? That the world runs on emotions the same way it runs on money. Imagine waking up and checking your emotional balance the way you check your bank account. You glance at your wristband and it flashes. You have 42 emotions left. Would you still waste them on anger? Would you still give them to people who never pay you back? Welcome to the idea of a world where emotions are currency and yours might be running out. Before we go deeper, hit that like button and subscribe, because this conversation might just change the way you feel about feeling. Now picture this. You're walking through a crowded city, surrounded by people whose emotional wallets are half empty. Some look tired, hollow, like they've spent too much on sadness and regret. Others seem rich, glowing with laughter and confidence, hoarding their happiness like it's gold. Every smile costs a little, every heartbreak drains your account, and somewhere, quietly, your emotions start to lose value. Because when something is scarce, it becomes precious, but when it's endless, we take it for granted. In this world, you wouldn't just ask someone how they feel, you'd ask, how much do you have left? Suddenly, kindness would be a luxury, anger would be expensive, love would be an investment. But let's be real, doesn't that already sound familiar? Maybe not with numbers and wristbands, but emotionally, we already trade like that. You give joy to your friends, spend patience on your job, and loan forgiveness to people who never pay it back. You might even go emotionally bankrupt trying to make everyone else happy. And that's where the first truth hits. We already live in an emotional economy. It's invisible, but it's real. The more you give without boundaries, the more drained you become. You ever feel that weight after an argument, like someone just withdrew something from your soul? That's your emotional currency being spent, and sometimes stolen. But here's the twist. What if emotions weren't just something you lost, but something you could earn? What if peace was interest that grew over time, or empathy was a rare, high-value coin? You'd guard it carefully, right? You'd probably stop spending your happiness on people who don't appreciate it. You'd stop wasting your calm on arguments that don't matter. Maybe you'd even save some joy for yourself instead of tipping everyone else first. Think about it. Every like on social media feels like a deposit, but every comparison, that's a withdrawal. You feel broke, not in money, but in meaning. And when that emotional balance hits zero, you burn out, you shut down, you stop feeling altogether. That's emotional poverty. And in a world where emotions are currency, that's the ultimate debt. But here's where things get even darker. What if some people figured out how to profit from your emotions? They'd make sadness addictive, sell fear in shiny packaging, turn outrage into a business model. Sound familiar yet? Because that's exactly what happens every day. The news, social media, marketing, all designed to drain your emotional wallet while making you think you're still rich in feeling. And you pay for it every time you scroll, click, or care too much about something that doesn't deserve you. So what's the solution? How do you earn back what you've lost? Well, here's a wild thought. What if you became your own emotional banker? You set limits, audit your spending, and decide who gets access to your energy. And suddenly you start saving without guilt. That person who drains you with their drama? Decline that emotional transaction. That project that feels empty? Don't invest. That small moment of peace, sunlight on your face, your favorite song in the car, that's a dividend. Collect it. And here's a curveball for your brain. If emotions were money, which one would be the rarest? Happiness? Nope. Probably authenticity. Because being real, genuinely yourself, costs the most. It's risky, vulnerable, and often undervalued. But in this emotional economy, it's the only thing that appreciates over time. Every fake smile, every polite lie, it might look like saving face, but it's actually emotional debt. And one day, the bill comes due. Now pause for a second. What would your balance look like right now? Are you emotionally rich, or are you quietly broke behind a smiling profile picture? Don't answer too fast. Because here's the uncomfortable part. The richer you make others feel, the poorer you can become if you forget yourself. We glorify selflessness, but no one tells you it can bankrupt your soul. And yet, there's hope. The beauty of this imaginary economy is that you can always start again. Every act of gratitude, every moment of stillness, every laugh with someone who truly sees you, those are deposits. Tiny ones, but they add up. Slowly, your balance grows. You begin to live differently. You spend wisely, not fearfully. You give because you choose to, not because you have to. Now imagine society catching on. Banks of emotion, therapists become emotional advisors, workplaces paying bonuses in happiness credits. People no longer chasing wealth in dollars, but in meaning. Crazy, right? Or maybe not, because deep down, isn't that what we're already craving? To feel rich inside even when the world feels empty outside? And here's a funny thought. What if people started faking emotions just to look rich, smiling like influencers, showing off their happiness balance while being emotionally bankrupt? Oh wait, they already do. Scroll through your feed and it's all emotional inflation. Too much fake joy driving down the value of real feeling. Maybe that's why genuine laughter feels so rare now. It's like finding an antique coin. You treasure it. Let's go even deeper. What happens when someone runs out completely, when they're emotionally bankrupt? They stop caring. Numbness takes over. They're alive, but not living. And that's the scariest kind of poverty, the one no one sees. But you can spot it if you look closely. It's in the eyes that don't light up anymore, the voices that sound tired even when they say, "I'm fine." That's emotional debt, eating them alive. But here's your turning point, because unlike money, emotions regenerate. You can always make more. You just have to stop spending them recklessly. It starts with awareness. You check your emotional account the same way you check your phone in the morning. How am I feeling today? What drained me yesterday? What can I invest in that'll give me real returns tomorrow? And suddenly life feels less like surviving and more like managing something precious. And maybe that's the real answer to the question. If emotions were a currency and yours were running out, you'd learn to value them. You'd stop wasting tears on temporary people. You'd spend joy like it matters. You'd save love for those who earn it. You'd understand that peace is priceless, and not everyone deserves to spend it with you. So before you go back to scrolling or stressing, remember this. Your emotions are not infinite. They're your most valuable resource. Treat them like gold. Save what matters, spend what heals, and invest in what makes your soul grow richer. Because one day, when the world feels cold and mechanical, the people who still know how to feel will be the real millionaires. If this thought stirred something in you, if it made you check your emotional balance for even a second, don't let it fade. Like, subscribe, and stay with me, because this channel isn't about escaping emotions. It's about understanding the silent battles of the human mind and learning how to win them before your emotional account runs dry.